Well, hey everyone, welcome back again to my little project here. We're coming down to the wire. The shed is going to be delivered this week, so I want to hurry up and get this done. I brought the landscape beams over. I thought I had more, but evidently I already used them all. But I've also got this big piece of wood, like I said last time, to put along the fence just to keep the dirt from touching the fence directly, because I intend on raising up this floor, moving it aside, spreading out dirt, putting the floor back, and the same thing over here. Because I'm wanting to make the floor a little wider than what it is here, probably covering at least half of this dirt here, I am going to stand them all up on end here, kind of so that I can have access to all the different pieces, so that I can pick them out in the order I want, since they'll go back likely different than they are now. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I have taken up the floor. I'm going to see if my shorter landscape beam will fit right there. I know the long one fits there. I already measured it. And that'll be the next step, is to, if I can put those landscape beams in place, then we'll spread a pretty good chunk of this dirt out over that area, which will expose more floor that I could take up. And I found a treasure. So I made this floor probably in 2009 or so, and I probably never thought I would leave the granite business. So I used a piece of very classy blue pearl as the floor. If I don't need this, I'm going to try to set it aside and keep it for use in more significant things. Again, since I don't work in the stone business anymore, I want to be careful with how I use my little bit of remaining material. Alright, I placed the landscape beams that I was telling you about. They're just laid against the fence. They're not anything permanent. The dirt and rocks that I put there will press them against the fence a little bit, so they'll stay in place. These other ones have stayed in place for years, so just mostly to keep water away from the fence. I uncovered the weed mat. So this is the weed mat that was underneath. Well, I got most of the dirt spread out, as you can see, and then I was chased off by the hot sun, and then chased off by the pouring rain. And as you can see where the old floor is, you notice there's a puddle there now. And that's why I'm wanting to spread this dirt out and elevate this area, because I know it's a little low. And this rain really makes it clear. There's actually a puddle right there. So it's good that I'm raising that floor up probably 2 inches at least, maybe 3. It'll be, I'm hoping, a little higher than this pathway. And I did order the 4-foot shed, so I'm going to measure 4 feet here and try to get my floor to be about 5 feet. And then there should be a little border of dirt all the way around along the path here. And after the floor is laid, I will dig that dirt out of what's left so that it's recessed, and I will tear up the weed mat that I pulled up from here and that I'm yet to pull up from under the floor here. And I'll cut that weed mat into pieces and lay it in that area where I dig out the dirt, if that makes sense, so that it's a little recess, and I'll fill that with gravel. I have lots of gravel. That way there's a place for the water to go. When it does rain, we live in a dry climate, so this isn't very often, but I still don't want water in my shed, and I think it'll just look good. So right now, I am going to move all this dirt over there onto the dirt. I'll try to keep it in a tight pile, and then we'll tear up this floor and get all the dirt level. That's our goal here. Well, that was harder on me than I thought it would be, but what else is new? But here's the rest of the old floor. This floor actually looks like it's about the right measurement. Let's see, I have my tape measure. Yeah, because when they're nice even pieces like that, I'd like to conserve the thought process. See, this goes all the way against the fence though. Yeah, there's no way to, there we go. Oh, okay. That's right at 4 feet. So really all I need to do with this section of the floor is it'll literally pick it up, put dirt under it, and move it this way about half that distance, and that floor will be perfect. Because I only need 4 feet, and I'm hoping for about 4.5 feet. So this section of the floor, they don't look cracked. All I need to do is raise them and move them. So that's good to know. Make sure I have a little bit of dirt left, because whether it be now or whether it be at the time we replace that fence, I am going to want to raise that sculpture up. And right now I'm thinking I'm going to wait until we fix the fence so that I don't do it twice. But there's a little space back there in the corner behind that sculpture where I can pile the little bit of dirt that I'm hoping to save out of this. We're making good progress. I was hoping to finish today, but boy, that wore me out. I have to use that type of shovel. I have a bigger, I don't know the name of the shovel, but it's more like a snow shovel. But I have to use this one because there are rocks in this dirt. And if you take a wider, flatter shovel, it just stops because you inevitably hit a rock. So that's why you might be wondering why I'm using this tiny little shovel. It's because between the unevenness of the floor, the shovel slams against it, or rocks that are mixed in this dirt. It's really, I've tried it with the bigger shovel and it's at least as much work, and it bangs the shovel up. So just thought I should explain that, because I know someone out there is wondering, why are you using that tiny little shovel? Anyway, this is a lot of fun. I'm excited. The floor is up. I do want to clarify for you guys, that yellow appears to be a calcium deposit of some kind, sort of like caliche. Again, these have been here since 2008 or so, and the one was broken, really shattered. But remember, this was a storage area, so stuff would be piled up, moved around, piled up again. Very harsh treatment. It wasn't meant to be cared for. But we're making good progress. I do want to point out, further confirmation of that the sculpture really hasn't sunk. This is the base right here. There's this large piece here, and then there's one piece under it. And I remember that's what the base is, and it's still level with the top of the original ground here. So that makes me feel good. So the sculpture is still where I put it. What's happened over the years is that I've filled in between leaves and dirt and so forth. So, but I am going to raise this up quite a bit, and so the sculpture is going to look low, but it's not because it sank, it's just because I'm building up the ground around it. And then I put gravel and rocks and leaves blow in, you know the story. So I'm going to tear up this weed mat because I want to use it as I described to hold the gravel up all the way around. And I really don't need it under the floor, especially since the floor is going to be under another floor of the shed. So there's just no real reason for it. Interesting, this piece of weed mat's in much better shape than the other half that I took up for whatever reason. Nice. Yeah, that'll work good. Okay, and then we'll put these timbers. Again, they're not meant to be anything really permanent or exotic. It's just to milk our fence for another 10 years or so. These fences are 1977, so however old that is. Look at that. Couldn't have measured it any closer if I would have cut them on purpose. I had just enough to go from where that timber, the original one, ends over there. Yeah, thank you, Lord. I like when stuff works out to within an inch. That makes me feel like I'm not alone in these projects. Cool. All right, now I'll spread the dirt out and we'll go from there. So I got the dirt maybe high enough. I might want a little more dirt yet. And I don't know if you saw what I was doing toward the end there. I'll film me doing it at regular speed in case you missed that. But I took a stone and using the flat edge of the stone, basically using it as a tamper. And you go across it both ways and it really knocks down any high spots. These still need some leveling, but it really makes it a lot less. And I'm going to move these over a little bit towards the sculpture yet. And basically centered, this is 50 inches and I need 48. So it's actually perfect. And the 10 feet, measuring from the end of the stone here, 10 feet comes to within about 8 inches of that landscape beam. So it's good that I got the 10 foot by 4 foot instead of the 10 foot by 5. I think 10 foot by 5, I would have been, my door, the shed would be almost right on the pathway here, which I don't want. I don't want it to look ridiculously crowded back here. It'll still be kind of tight, but it will fit with maybe 10 inches all the way around. Like I said, in that 10 inches around the floor pad, if I can call it that, I will actually dig out the dirt again, and then I'll pick up the stones of the floor and the pathway stones here and put a strip of the the old weed mat, basically pinched under each stone and then gravel on top. And I'll do that all the way around. Tuck it under the landscape beams and under the floor pad, and the same thing back there with gravel, just to make a place for water to go, because sometimes we'll get a lot of snow here, and then when the snow melts and the ground is frozen, the water can't soak in. So I'm trying to think of all that stuff. So leveling these is very time consuming. I'll try to film some of it for you, but we may skip some sections, just because the way I do this kind of work is I come out for 20 minutes or so, and then I go back in and rest. It's exhausting, you know, picking up this slab and banging it on the ground. I don't really have a better tamping method. I've seen those tampers you can buy, but they're basically the same thing. It's just a heavy metal on a stick that you can bang up and down. So I've always found the granite works good. And we're doing good. I think I'm going to call it for this video because it's already going to be quite long. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Always helps us out.